Oof. Oof. What's up, Rich Squad guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dominic Rich, and if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Road to 7K is in full effect. In this video, I'm going to let you know the most expensive player from every team that qualified for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So guys, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to go from Group A to Group H, and I'm going to let you know the player with the highest market value on each team according to the website www.transfermarkt.com. So let's kick it off with Group A. Group A consists of Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Uruguay. And the most expensive player, according to market value, on the Russian team is Mario Fernandes of CSKA Moscow, and he is worth 16 million euros. So he tops it off for Russia. So for Saudi Arabia, their most expensive player, according to market value, is no other than Nawaf Al Abed. His market value is 1.7 million euros, and he plays for Al Hilal in the Saudi Arabian Pro League. For Egypt, their most expensive player is Mohamed Salah. He is currently worth 80 million euros, and he plays for Liverpool. If Mohamed Salah has to get sold, he would probably be sold for maybe 120 to 140 million euros. So the market value doesn't mean that that's the price that they're going to get bought and sold for. Sometimes it does happen like that, but other times with a player like Mohamed Salah, you can see that price go way up. So on to Uruguay. Their most expensive player is Luis Suarez, and he is worth 85 million euros, and he plays for FC Barcelona. So that rounds it off for Group A. So let's move on to Group B, where we have Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and Iran. The most expensive player on the Portuguese team is no other than Cristiano Ronaldo of Real Madrid, and he is worth 120 million euros. Of course, if he has to get sold, he would probably go for maybe 150 million euros, around that mark, or even 200 million. But we just have to wait and see if he ever moves from Real Madrid. PSG maybe pay 200 million for him, like they did for Neymar. We'll just have to wait and see. But on to Spain. Their most expensive player is a big surprise to you guys. It's Sergio Busquets, 80 million euros. He plays for FC Barcelona in La Liga. Bet you didn't know that, huh? So let's move on to Morocco. Their most expensive player is Amine Harit, and he's 20 years old, and he is worth 25 million euros. He plays for Schalke 04 in the German Bundesliga. So look out for him in the near future. So let's move on to Iran. Their most expensive player is Sardar Azmoun. He is worth 9 million euros, and he plays for Rubin Kazan in the Russian Premier League. So that rounds it off for Group B. So let's move on to Group C, where we have France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. Let's start it off with France. Their most expensive player is, guess who? You will be surprised. It's Kylian Mbappe, 120 million euros. He plays for PSG. I bet you didn't know that, huh? Let's move on to Australia. Their most expensive player is Aaron Moy, and he is worth 9 million euros. He plays for Huddersfield Town in the English Premier League. He was a former Man City player as well. So on to Peru. Their most expensive player is Andre Carrillo. He is worth 6 million euros, and he plays for Watford in the English Premier League. So for the Peruvian players, their market values aren't very high at all. But if they do very well at the World Cup, you would see some of their market values going skyrocket. So on to Denmark. Of course, you know it's Christian Eriksen, and he is worth 75 million euros according to Transfermarkt, and he plays for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League. So guys, let's move on to Group D, where we have Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, and Nigeria. Let's start off with Argentina. A for Argentina, and we're gonna start off with that team, and it goes to no other than Lionel Messi. He is worth 180 million euros, and he plays for FC Barcelona. Will he ever get sold? Will he be the first 300 million euro player we just have to wait and see. I don't think he is ever moving from Barcelona. If he ever has to move to Barcelona, which team do you think he will be transferred to? Let me know in the comment section down below. But let's move on to Iceland. And their most expensive player is Gylfi Sigurdsson of Everton FC. And he is worth 30 million euros. If he does well at the World Cup, you could see that price go up to 50 million. But will Gylfi Sigurdsson move on to a bigger club in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. So on to Croatia, and their most expensive player is Ivan Rakitic of FC Barcelona, and he is worth 50 million euros. So anybody looking to buy Rakitic, they would have to fork out around 60 million euros for him. Or because he is a little cold right about now, maybe he will get sold for 50. So on to Nigeria. We have a tie for Nigeria, and we have Wilfried Ndidi and Victor Moses, both worth 18 million euros apiece. Wilfried Ndidi plays for Leicester City and Victor Moses plays for Chelsea, both in the English Premier League. So remember, the market value is not what the players are usually sold for. If the player does really well in the season and he has really high potential, then he gets sold for a little bit more. You know, all the negotiations, the agents, and all of that get involved, and the price could go up and up and up. Also, the price could drop. So it varies from player to player. So let's move on to Group E, where we have Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. So for Brazil, their most expensive player, of course, is no other than Neymar Jr., and he is worth 180 million euros, and he plays for PSG. Well, he is worth the same as Lionel Messi. Do you believe that? He was transferred for 222 million euros from Barcelona to PSG, and if he moves to Real Madrid, maybe the sum could be bigger. So we'll just have to wait and see if another transfer like that happened this summer after the 2018 World Cup. For Switzerland, their most expensive player is Granit Xhaka, and he is worth 35 million euros. He plays for Arsenal FC in the English Premier League. Bet you didn't know that Granit Xhaka was the most valuable player on the Switzerland team. A lot of you thought it was Xherdan Shaqiri, right? So let's move on to Costa Rica. And their most valuable player, most expensive man, is Keylor Navas, who is worth 18 million euros, and he plays for Real Madrid. He is the first goalkeeper that made it to the list. I think the next most valuable player on the Costa Rican team is he's worth like 5 million euros or something like that. So Keylor Navas is the most expensive player by far in the Costa Rican setup. On to Serbia, and it goes to no other than Sergej Milinkovic-savic, the highly sorted midfielder, and he is worth 70 million euros, and he plays for Lazio. Will he remain at Lazio next season? I don't think so. A lot of big teams are out for this guy, so we might see him at PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, or maybe even in the English Premier League for Manchester United or one of the London clubs. So we'll just have to wait and see where Sergej Milinkovic-savic goes, according to how he does at the World Cup though. So let's move on to Group F. In Group F, we have Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. So let's start with Germany, and the most valuable player on the German team goes to Toni Kroos, worth 80 million euros, and he plays for Real Madrid in La Liga. On to Mexico. Hervé Lozano, 22 million euros, plays for PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch Eredivisie, and he is their most valuable player. Did you know that? So let's move on to Sweden. We have a tie between Emil Forsberg of RB Leipzig and Victor Lindelof of Manchester United. They're worth 25 million euros apiece. So let's move on to South Korea, and their most valuable player is Han-Min Son, and he is worth 35 million euros. He plays for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League. So now we move on to Group G, where we have Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England. For Belgium, guess who is the most expensive player on that team? Guess. It's not Eden Hazard. It goes to Kevin De Bruyne, worth 110 million euros. He plays for Manchester City in the English Premier League. He will be donning these colors next season, of course. Who else on the list you think could be done in these colors? Let me know in the comment section down below. The list ain't done yet though. It ain't done yet. So let's move on to Panama. We have a tie here. We have Anibal Godoy of San Jose Earthquakes in the MLS and Roberto Ners of Mineiro de Zacatecas, worth 800,000 euros apiece. They're going to be number 32nd on the list, of course, for the cheapest players who's going to be at the 2018. Fucking bumblebee. Oof. Oof. Fucking stupid. They will be among some of the cheapest players at the 2018 World Cup. But if Panama does well, you can see their market value skyrocket. So let's move on to Tunisia. Their most valuable player is Wabi Kazri, and he is worth 10 million euros. He plays for Stade Rennais. And last but not least, in Group G is England. Their most expensive player is no other than Harry Kane, and he is worth 120 million euros. He plays for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League. Will we see Harry Kane move to Real Madrid or one of these other clubs in England? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Manchester United maybe goes there, flop big time. So last but not least, Group H, we have Poland, Colombia, Senegal, and Japan. The most expensive player on the Polish team is Robert Lewandowski, and he is worth 90 million euros. He plays for Bayern Munich in the German Bundesliga. He is also rumored to be moving to Real Madrid. And as the great Cristiano Ronaldo said, every season about 50 players are linked with Real Madrid and none of them ever comes there. So will any of these transfers to Real Madrid happen? Let me know your thoughts down below. On to Colombia, and their most valuable player is the one and only James Rodriguez, worth 65 million euros. He plays for Bayern Munich, but he is still owned by Real Madrid. So, on to Senegal, and of course, it's no other than Sadio Mane, worth 60 million euros, plays for Liverpool in the English Premier League. And last but not least on the list, Japan. Shinji Kagawa is the most valuable player, worth 13 million euros. He plays for Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga. So what inspired me to do this video is because the transfer window has already opened and a lot of teams already started doing businesses, changing managers, buying players and so forth. And the World Cup is just around the corner, and we know that during and after the World Cup we see some big transfers happening. So I said, why not do this video, and maybe after the World Cup I can definitely go back and do another video like this to see whose market value went up, went down, who becomes the most valuable player on the team and whatnot. So I thought it would have been a very cool idea. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, peace out. Rich Squad!